Hey, it's Steve from Objects Unlimited. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about tech versus talent. As you know from watching our videos, we have some really incredible 3D printing equipment here and the ability to make some great product. But there's an awful lot more to it than just hitting file print. Certain components, especially mechanical components, yes, we can take a file, we can produce a part, we can take it right off the printer, and it's usable. But for most of what we do, that's certainly not the case, and that requires far more than the best technology. You require the best people. Come with me and I'll show you what I mean. This is our Mamaki printing room, and as you see, all these beautiful machines are here that make really amazing parts. But what you don't see, it's what I call the dirty secret of the 3D printing industry, is the finishing process. So in here, we have a whole bunch of parts that are off the printer that require some hand finishing. This is a skilled job. It's really easy to break parts. It's really easy to add scrape lines. The theory is we could potentially stick these just in a tank of water and melt away the support. The support is water soluble. However, taking a chunk like this and throwing it into water is going to create a ton of waste, which we have to handle properly and create a lot of time. So part of the process of 3D printing is finishing, and especially organic shapes are more challenging. And that's where we require talented people like Hannah to do this type of work. This is one aspect. There's lots of other ways that we use our talent. There's talent on design, there's talent on part setup, and then there's talent on making the parts look really good. Again, come with me. So powder printing is another method that requires a fair amount of manual work. When parts come off the machine, we take them out of the powder and they look like this. The next step is sanding, then we dip it in glue, then we sand it again, and then we dip it in wax. At any point, if I touch those fingers, they're breaking off. At any point, if I push the Dremel or the sandpaper a little too hard onto this model, we've taken the color off the surface and we have to remake it. This is a really skilled job finishing these type of parts. It's one of those things where it takes touch, it takes practice, and it takes talent. When I started Objects, I did a lot of this myself, and I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it at all. Definitely defer to the people that do the actual work and can take a part like this out and not break these tiny pieces on the legs or on the hand. After that, there is often additional hand work that's done on some of the parts we make in terms of painting, sanding, polishing. Mamaki parts that need to be clear require quite a lot of hand finishing. It could be several days of sanding to get to a final good product. And again, it's skilled work. It requires talent. It requires artists. Most people in our industry are tech people, and we have so many talented industrial designers and engineers on our team. But the real sweet spot for Objects Unlimited is the physical artists that we employ and the people that know how to do work with their hands and how to make something look just that much better. That's our secret sauce. It's a really hard thing to replicate. So there's production, finishing, but then there's, a lot of other work that has to happen that requires people to do the jobs. You cannot automate everything, and especially when you're doing custom parts and organic shapes that change all the time, it's really difficult to automate. It's very hard for us to use sandblasting. It's hard for us to use tumbling because we have so many fine features in the parts that we make. We end up breaking more than we save, and so it does end up being a little bit manual. That is a definite challenge when it comes to scaling, but it's also a huge barrier to entry. It can take years to really get good at finishing parts properly, and again, one of the value-added aspects that Objects Unlimited brings to the table. We do have a paint booth, we have polishing stations, we have other places where we can do work, and this area here right now is a little bit cluttered, but sometimes this becomes our workshop where we sand, or where we cover a giant model with grass, something that's happened, or where we create a piece of space junk 7 feet high in 2 days through a mixture of 3D printing and prop making and painting and polishing and distressing and all those little factors, not just to make something, but to make something that looks really, really good. So we're going to take a look a bit at the packaging operation as well. So packaging is something that has to be done carefully and correctly. And it's one thing if you're packaging 1 or 2 pieces of a certain product. When you're doing a whole bunch of things, say hundreds of pieces, it can become a little bit of an issue. And as you see here, we're working on packaging some trucks up, and it's not just a 3D printed product. It's the part, it's the box, it's the sleeve. It's making everything work together. And although this is not a skilled job, and it kills me to have highly skilled labor like Brenda working on this, it is work that has to get done. And one thing about that is everybody has to pitch in. Sometimes you need the mind-numbing jobs. Sometimes you can do really high value added and really interesting jobs. It varies all over the place, but my key point here is that the technology is only the starting point. You can't go and buy 3D printers and produce excellent parts. You can go and buy 3D printers and print excellent parts depending on the parts that you're making, but when it comes to organic shapes, full color, high detail, you need talent as well as the technology. Any questions, reach out to us on our website or click the link below if you want to learn more.